Yes, good evening, dear participants. Am I audible? Am I audible? Yes. So thank you so much for coming for the second day. And today's session will be taken care by the Department of Sociology. Faculties are there; they'll be taking care. Over to you, ma'am. Dr. Ashmi, ma'am, you can unmute your audio and you can talk, ma'am. Dr. Ashmi, ma'am. Dear participants, please wait for 1 or 2 minutes. There is a technical issue from the hosting institution. Uh, she will join in another 1 or 2 minutes. Then we will start the session, and today we will wind up by a proper time. Since yesterday we have a inaugural session, so that we have exceeded your time. Hello. Okay, dear participants, I think ma'am has a technical issue. Am I audible now? Okay, fine. We will start the meeting. Since ma'am is having the technical issue, we will start. So welcoming you all for the second day International Research Methodology Workshop. And today resource person is a great legend in the field of social work. Ma'am, we know her personally, and many times she came as a resource person for our International Research Methodology Workshop, and she has given a beautiful lecture on that. And then that time we was organized the event by RC25 Sociology of Sports Indian Sociological Society. And now we are doing the event without RC25 Sociology of Sports ISS because now there is a what was that currently RC25 Sociology of Sports having some issues so that we are not able to collaborate with them. This is the only reason, and apart from that, there is none other reason behind that. And today we have the resource person, Dr. Annie, ma'am. She is working as an assistant professor in the Department of Social Work at the Indian Institute of Psychology and Research, IIPR, Bangalore, Karnataka. And she has completed a Master of Social Work, followed by MPhil as well as PhD in the reputed institution. And today, she will be taking the classes on advanced academic writing and scholarly argumentation as well as manuscript structure. In the sense, how to write a research paper and how can we write our research in the advanced format. And all those, what was that lecture she will be taking care of us. And today she will be with us for 1 hour and 45 minutes, and remaining 10 minutes we will keep it for discussion. So don't disturb the class. As like yesterday, we will lock the meeting so that nobody will be disturbing and the faculties again and again. So last 10 minutes we will open the meeting for all to ask the questions. Okay, and expecting your good cooperation in this regard. We are very happy that again today 4 to 5 of the people who belongs to disability category, they have registered for our workshop, and we are very happy for them, and we wholeheartedly welcome them also. You might ask the question, sir, why you are giving free, sir? None of the institution giving free of cost for organizing seminar as well as conferences for persons with disabilities. Since I am from this domain, when I was a research scholar, I belong to the category. When I was a research scholar, I used to ask all the honor secretaries, sir, is there any fee concession for physically challenged person? There's no concession benefit, sir. You have to pay the full fee. If you're interested, you can come. Otherwise, you don't come. This is the reply I used to get from all the organizers. I made a decision. If God permits me in future, if I became a assistant professor, if I in future if I became a deciding authority, I won't charge any money for the persons with disability. So I have succeeded in my life, and this is our 14th event. We never charge even single rupees for the people with disability category. Why? Because no, many people are interested to come because of these financial issues. Particularly, they are not able to pay fees. My concern is it is not about earning money. It is about we are have to take care and we have to include everything to the mainstream. This is what our concern means. Sociology also speaks the same thing. Right? We are not supposed to marginalize anyone. We have to include everyone to the major stream. This is what our dream mean, and we are successfully running our dream in a happy way. And without much time, so taking much time, let me hand over the session to Dr. Anu ma'am, and she'll be taking the remaining time. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Very good evening to one and all person here. Let me just share my screen first. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am, you are completely audible, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Hope the screen is visible to everyone. So good evening, one and all present here. First of all, I express my sincere thanks to Dr. Bennett, as well as the all organizing team for giving me this opportunity. It was a wonderful experience in the previous time when I joined with the team, and I hope I will be getting a wonderful experience again with the team and the participants for this workshop. So today, I'm going to discuss with you all my experience and knowledge, thoughts in connection to academic writing, especially advanced academic writing, scholarly argumentation, and manuscript structure. We all may face a lot of difficulties in our early career as in terms of how to present our ideas, how to convince others, how to get audience for our paper or ideas that we are presenting, how much readability that we are able to access. All those things are the major concern we faced it. Ultimately, the publication, how we will get the good publication. And right now, you all heard that thing. The difficulty in publication procedure and getting acceptance in the publication team for the papers that we are presenting it, and all those things are a criteria for our professional life also, either getting a degree, especially higher education sector, or promotion, salary part, everywhere in our professional life. If you are in the academic field, publication is an important thing, and we all are stuck that particular phase, how to get good publication in good international reputed journals. With that background, I'm going to start with minimal information about academic writing, moving to advanced academic writing, and how to present our arguments or how to present our ideas to the readers in a convincing mode, and what could be the structure, appropriate structure for manuscript writing. So these are the contents of today's session. As Ben sir mentioned, I'll try to finish my session exactly 1 hour 45 minutes. Then we'll have a discussion later. So the outline for today's session is starting with academic writing, then moving to advanced academic writing, scholarly argumentation, what is meant by arguments, how to present scholarly argumentation, and then developing strong, that means developing strong argumentation in scholarly articles, followed by manuscript, various types of manuscript and structure, then how to select academic journal for publication. Then finally, how to meet the requirements for international publication in the reputed journals. These are the outlines for today's session. A continuation of this session will be happening tomorrow and fifth day also in the same line. So hope we can have more fruitful discussion on this line today. So starting with what is the importance of writing in research? Have you any time consider or think about, is it important to conduct research or present research findings in a particular field, or what will be the most difficult situation, conducting research or presenting research? That means writing the research, which is most difficult phase. Everyone, if I'm asking the same questions to my students in college, they say that I think conducting research is the most difficult part. But I repeatedly says that I think conducting research is not that much difficult when we compare to writing up research based on the findings that we have. So when we are conducting the research, it's me as a researcher and my team and the samples. And if I am confident enough with respect to my methodology, is fine. I can go out with that thing. I will get the guidance from the supervisors or my team how to conduct the research. But when I'm writing that research findings, it's my
Yes,
responsibility.
I typed.
How will I able to convince my research idea findings with an evidence-based approach to my readers? So that is more difficult in terms of conducting and publishing the research article. So it says that I think no matter how well research is conducted, if the readers are not able to convince about the credibility of the knowledge that the researchers claim, then the entire effect is not worthy enough. That means, along with the conduction of research, the writing of the research from the beginning to the last is most important phase. It is not said by me or any of the academicians one by one. It is established, it's an established fact. In 1993, Blake and Bly reported that thing. Rightly or wrongly, the quality and worth of that work are judged by the quality of the written report, its clarity, organization, and content. That means how much ever effort I have put in my research conduction, it it will not be worthy or it will not be having enough quality if I'm not able to report it properly with respect to clarity, the organization of the points, and the content what I'm going to convince. So, with that note, I'm starting the session. Academic uh, writing is a formal, structured, sorry, academic writing, if you're going with the definition or the concept of academic writing, it says that I think it is a formal, structured style of non-fiction writing used in universities and scholarly publication, not only universities, in any academic field, to communicate research theories and ideas. So it is one aspect of academic writing is a non-fiction writing. We are reading a multiple documents or novels or stories, fiction based. There, the style of writing is completely different. Here, in academic writing, it's a formal document. Second one, it has its own structure. Structure means discipline specific, journal specific, university or institution specific structures will be there. And the type of research or the type of article that we are presenting, based on that also structure will vary. So basically, any academic writing is a formal presentation of the idea which is structured as per the requirement and a non-fiction writing style. That means we are using formal way of presenting our idea with a formal language and tone. This normally happening in the academic field, either with the scholarly publications with respect to journals or book publication or newspaper or article publications, or in terms of submitting our dissertation or thesis to respective institutions. The main purpose of academic writing is to communicate research, theories, and ideas from the experience of the researcher to the readers. And it is characterized by, all the academic writing should be characterized by its clear and perfect objective. It should be precise in nature, and the entire report or the paper, academic document also should be precise manner. Every line or every content in the academic document should be evidence-based approach, which completely supported with the citation and reference, which in terms or invariably support our arguments also. So basically, academic writing in scholarly publication should be having a clear objective, precise manner of writing, and evidence-based approach, which is completely depends upon the citation and reference elements that we are bringing into our paper to support our own arguments. And the major types of academic writing or the documents which comes under academic writings in terms of research are research proposal, which we are proposing before the research implementation or conduction. And getting its main purpose is to get the approval from the respective institution or university, or get the fund or grant, or ethical clearance. These are the various purpose of submitting the research proposal. Besides all those things, the main purpose of the research proposal is to ensure the researcher is having a blueprint for his entire procedure in his hand. Second one is synopsis, where we are submitting the synopsis and thesis terms, both are using in the higher education sector. Basically, the main difference between synopsis and thesis is synopsis are the summary of your findings and studies, which is supposed to present your institutions to go ahead. And once the synopsis is approved, then based on the suggestions, we can revise it and make a full thesis or dissertation, and we can submit for the approval from the university for the grant of our respective educational qualification. Then the next one is research papers. Different types of research papers are there. So depends upon the type of study, type of the purpose of the information which we are focusing on. There will be multiple types of research papers. We will discuss those kind of research paper in the later slide. But in a short, when we are talking about academic writing in terms of research, these are the main types of documents: research proposal, synopsis, thesis, and research papers. Now, moving to the scope and style of academic writing, always the scope and academic style of academic writing, or the research paper writing, thesis writing, everything will be depends on four major factors. First, itself, the standard guidelines and structure providing by the submitting authority. For example, if I am pursuing my PhD in my university, I have to follow the standard guidelines and structure provided by the research cell of that particular university. Second thing, same study, if I'm going to publish in a research art journal, then I have to convert that same study into a different structure based on the guidelines provided by the journal that I'm going to publish it or sending it. So like that, the standard guidelines and structure provided by the submitting authority will be having a role of deciding the scope and style of academic writing. Second thing, the report's intended audience. I have conducted a research on a particular topic, and I have published a paper based on that thing in a scholarly journal. And second, along with that publication, I strongly felt that as this topic is a socially inevitable issue, which I need to convey to the normal layman people, and I need to present my research study in a newspaper or online media, social media, to get maximum audience, to make sure that they are aware of this particular issue. Same research I'm going to publish in two particular ways, which is for a scholarly journal and which is for a newspaper. The way I need to present my ideas, present my findings will be completely different. The language will be different, the style will be different, structure will be different. So to whom I need to convince my information? That intended audience. In the first one, scholarly publication, most of the readers will be academicians or research expert, research community, experts in the field like that, or scholars. But when it comes to a newspaper article, my audience is normal people who are either educated or non-educated, who are professional, non-professional, who are from the same discipline or not from the same discipline. So I need to think about who will be reading my article, who will be reading my paper. Based on that, I have to decide what is the appropriate structure, style of my paper. The third criteria is that report's purpose and types. So if I write a paper to get a grant from a particular funding organization, I need to consider that what are the elements should be there in that thing. In that case, I have to consider along with all other requirements of a research paper, I need to give emphasis on the budget part, timeline, the lot of practical considerations, all those things I need to give emphasis. But if I'm just conducting a research and for the purpose of publishing into a research community, it may not be that much important to mention the budget part or timeline. So the purpose of my study, and then types of study, what kind of study I'm going to take, whether it's a quantitative or qualitative or mixed method. Broadly, we have researchers in three categories: quantitative, qualitative, and mixed methods. These types, in that also subtypes are there. That types will again matter or need to be considered with respect to the structure of the report that we are going to write it. Again, the last one, type of information to be communicated, whether we are presenting qualitative information or are we presenting some existing theories, or are we going to present some limitations of a particular field. So what kind of information we are going to communicate, that also will be a matter or will be a criteria to decide the scope and style of academic writing. From academic writing to advanced academic writing, if you are looking at the differences, there won't be much differences actually. So even if you are writing or focusing on academic writing or advanced academic writing, we should be able to clearly present our idea. But the term advanced academic writing is intended to emphasize the certain importance, how we can present or how we can achieve certain level of quality in my publication. With that point, the term advanced academic writing is coming. It is said that this advanced academic writing is a highly structured, evidence-based, and formal style of writing, which is also similar to the explanation for academic writing. I know that thing. But the word highly makes a difference in this particular context, which is designed for publication in high quality international journal, doctoral dissertation, and expert research context. So where we have to go with the advanced academic writing, that is the answer is this one. When we want to go for a high quality international journal publication, or when we are doing our doctoral dissertations or postdoc dissertation, or when we are presenting our idea into expert research community, all those ways we have to move from academic writing to basic academic writing to advanced academic writing. Then this advanced mode of academic writing goes beyond the basic style of academic writing by creating new knowledge, how the difference, or from academic writing, basic academic writing to advanced academic writing, what are the major differences? In the advanced academic writing, the researcher tries to create new knowledge, nuanced arguments, and strict adherence to disciplinary conventions. So here, when we are writing any research paper in an advanced academic writing mode, we need to be very careful to showcase or present that our paper is coming with some new information or something novel to the field, that we need to ensure. If we are fail enough to bring that novelty in our paper, then it is not possible to call as advanced academic writing. Second thing, nuanced arguments. We need to bring very clear, specific arguments that presenting in the study. So that means there should not be, even if the minute differences, we should be able to present it in our arguments. Then the disciplinary wise conventions, every discipline, if you're looking at the social science discipline or science discipline or medicine or engineering, or within social science itself, different fields are there. For example, psychology, social work, anthropology. Every discipline has its own disciplinary conventions, how we can do the research, how we can present it, what could be the structure. All those things are important. So we need to strictly adhere the disciplinary conventions also. So when we are able to present novelty with nuanced arguments within the disciplinary conventions, we are able to bring advanced academic documents to the community. The characteristics and components of academic writings. First of all, goal. Um, the academic writing, what is the goal of advanced academic writing? It mainly aims contribute to scholarly conversations for publication in high impact journal. The main aim of advanced academic writing is to get a publication in high impact international journal, national or international journal. Certain times national journal also we can consider with a high impact journal, but irrespective of national international journal, the journal should have a high impact factor. So in such journals, if we want to publish, we need to go with the advanced academic writing. Then every document or research paper or manuscript should be having a clear, discipline-specific formats. And the basic format of a research paper is IMRD, which is including introduction, method, results, discussion. This again we will discuss in the later slides. So I'm just skipping that section. So there will be a structure, proper structure, including introduction, method, results, discussion in the advanced academic writing mode. Then there should be a critical analysis. That means the researcher should be able to synthesize information from diverse perspectives based on the literature evidences, evaluate the literature evidences clearly, and identify research gaps. What are the research gaps? Why we are bringing with the new paper or new study? And then connect the findings to the existing literature and theory, which will lead to filling the research gap that we identified in the beginning of the research. So in a advanced mode of academic writing, we should be able to synthesize information from diverse perspective with the evidences from literature and theoretical background, and filling the research gaps, identifying and filling the research gap with the respective support-based information. Then the tone of advanced academic writing always formal, objective, very precise in nature, and as much as possible avoid first person and informal language. So in certain cases, first person based presentations permitted certain discipline, but more or less most of the discipline, most of the areas, field of studies, I would try to avoid first person based presentation of the information. Then the document the document which is based on the advanced academic writing should be supported with evidences. When we're talking about evidences, that means we are connecting our research findings or the ideas based on the existing literature and the theoretical framework. So when we're saying that, I think this study is trying to find out something and explain a concept, the concept is not generated by us. It's given by someone else. Someone already published that thing. So we need to acknowledge that the credit for those people who are already explained those concepts. Not only there, from the beginning to end of the document, the research paper, we need to bring the evidences in terms of citation and references. That means wherever we are taking an idea to explain our own context concept, or wherever we are taking any information, figures, graphs, or a sentence, or a particular definition, or a findings from another study, we should be acknowledge the author of those particular information and give the credits with the two particular methods, that is index citation as well as referencing. So different referencing styles are there, APA, MLA, Vancouver, Harvard. These are some examples only. So with respect to discipline specific, journal specific, and university specific, we need to identify which is the style of reference and citation style followed by those particular authority, and then we have to bring those style in our citation and reference to the document. Then complexity, utilize sophisticated sentences, structures, vocabulary, and logical and coherent arguments. All are important to bring the complexity of the topic that we are considering. So maximum, we need to be careful with respect to how we are structuring our sentences using different vocabulary. When we are saying that the vocabulary, it doesn't mean that we have to use multiple jargons. So not like that. We can use new terminology, the specific terms in the discipline, all those things are fine, but it should not be too much, and which should be explained in the paper also, either as a explanation in the content itself or as a footnotes. We have to give the explanation. So when we are using the vocabulary also, we should be very careful. Is it convincing or is it understanding by the readers? Then the logical and continuity of the logical sequence of the information, coherent arguments, all those things are ensuring the complexity of the document. The major focus area of constructing advanced academic writing are constructing arguments. So when we are writing a scholarly manuscript or thesis, we need to focus certain points to ensure this is following an advanced academic writing method. First thing, constructing arguments. So we need to bring or develop nuanced claims that acknowledge counter arguments and limitations. So it says that thing, not just bring some arguments for presenting the idea. It should be nuanced. That means it should be very specific in its nature. Second thing, the moment we are bringing an argument or claim or statement in a research paper, we should expect certain counter arguments and the possible limitations. Considering that only we should be able to bring the or we should be construct the arguments. So how much ever is possible to bring a clear and nuanced arguments in a possible way to discuss or confront counter arguments and limitations in scientific manner. That makes the quality of the document. Second thing, drafting and revision. None of the research paper is possible to, or none of the researcher is possible to make a research paper, scholarly paper with one draft. Multiple times we need to do the writing, rewriting, drafting, redrafting, reading, again reading, changing. This is required. Iterative process involving multiple rounds of feedback to improve clarity, coherence, and concise is an important aspect of advanced academic writing. So when we are writing a paper, as much as possible, the first author or all authors should read the article multiple times, rewrite it wherever is required, make it more clear, and then try to get some feedback from the expert in the field, maybe the supervisor, or maybe the expert in the field, or maybe another researcher. Get multiple feedbacks and try to bring the clarity and coherence concise in your paper with the iterative process by incorporating the feedbacks from the other people. So this drafting and revision of the document is an important aspects for bringing a scholarly article. Then disciplinary context is the another focus area of advanced academic writing. That means with respect to the specific discipline we are belongs to or we are conducting a research, we need to adhere to the specific standards and insider convention of a field. So I'm from a social work background. So when I'm writing a paper within the social work context, I need to think how a social work document or in that particular field, what are the requirements, how the phenomena can be explained in a social work context, what are the implications in the social work field. A almost similar topic, a psychologist can also do the research. But when a psychologist doing the research on the similar topic, their focus will be something different. Implication will be different. So we need to consider what discipline we belongs as well as the research we are conducting it. And then bring the insider convention of the field into our research. Specific structure, formatting, style, tone, implication, everything is matter with respect to disciplinary context. And the last one is scientific publishing. So here it says that thing, when we are writing a paper, we need to understand the process of submitting to, revising for, and publishing in academic journal. So whatever way we are presenting our idea, if it is not published in a good journal, high quality impact journal, the value is again limited. Value of the research is again limited. It won't be reached to the readers, larger group of the audience. So we need to get scholarly publication or scientific publication. And for that, we need to understand what is the process of publication, how to identify journals, how to avoid predatory journals, how to submit, what are the different levels of submission, what are the different people who are involving in the publication process, like authors, reviewers, editorial board, readers. Like that, multiple people are involving in that process. So we need to understand that thing. Second thing, how the revision procedure is happening. Third one is what could be the final stage of publication procedure. What all things we need to be taken care in that process. So we need to understand that thing. This process, the submission process, revision process, and publication process is again different from journal to journal. So we need to understand how the particular journal is going with the publication procedure. Overall, there is a procedure for almost every journal. But within that overall structure of publication process, every journals will be having their own specific way of doing it. So we need to understand that thing. For that, we have to refer the journal's website and instruction for authors or guidelines for authors that we need to read carefully while making the paper. So this is an important aspect in advanced academic writing. If you're not looking at into that particular perspective and writing a paper in our own experience or any other method, then the chance of getting into publish in the reputed journals is less than 5%. So basically, if I am writing a research paper right now for a particular journal which is called A, an international journal which is from the Sage publisher, and unfortunately that got rejected. Then I'm trying to find out another journal which is from another publisher or same publisher but a different journal. Again, I had to read the author specification or guidance for the respective journal and convert my first paper into that mode without any issues. So without doing adhering to the guidelines prescribed by the respective journal, it is not pos it is not possible to get the publication with the respective journal. So each time, if after rejection from one journal, if you're going with another journal, we need to again relook into the author guidelines and reformat the content, reformat the paper according to the new journal. That is an important aspect in advanced academic writing and scholarly publication. Now moving to the next topic, scholarly argumentation. So this, before starting the construction of scholarly argumentation, one thing which I need to tell you that it's actually this particular section is in the hand of researcher. How much the researchers read and understand the area of study that helps the researcher to bring a scholarly argument in her paper. So the base of any scholarly argumentation is reading different perspectives of that particular topic within the discipline and outside the discipline and understand the context. Find out the evidences which is already existing. Then only we will be able to bring nuanced arguments, scholarly arguments in our paper. So an argument refers to the main idea, often we called as claim or thesis statement or problem statement, which is again supported by evidence. So we can't bring a claim or thesis statement or problem statement or research problem without the evidence. For that, if you're looking at the research methodology steps, the first step itself is problem formulation. Research problem, whether it's a quantitative or qualitative or mixed method, it doesn't matter. Most of the research books are says that the first step is problem formulation. But how we bring or formulate a problem? And most of the books mention second step as a review of literature. But from my experience, I try to convey that review of literature is not the second step or not the step which is limited only in the second phase of a research. It is a step which is starting at the moment or the moment where I am start to think about a research. The moment I am thinking about a topic to conduct a research, I need to start reading on it. And that amount of reading, the quality of reading, the documents, the scholarly documents that I am reading will help me to bring a proper, clear, scientific problem which can be tested and either confirm with the new information, existing information, or deconfirm with the existing information. So that reading, literature review, that is a base of any scholarly argumentation. So argumentation is the process of presenting a well-reasoned, evidence-based position to pursued readers of a specific viewpoint or to enhance academic understanding. So I'm going to make a statement, problem statement, or an argument which will be presented with a clear reason or rationale from the evidences. That means I cannot bring a rationale and a problem statement with a rationale without an evidence base. I have to say that I think this many literatures are available on this particular topic, and these are the limitations and strength of the area, and these areas or topics or sections are not covered, not explored, or some contradictory informations are visible in the literature. Hence, I am going to conduct a study on this topic. So that rational, the evidence-based approach to bring the problem statement is the essence of your research study. So every argumentation, arguments, or every researcher should bring a clear arguments uh, based on the literature review and other evidence-based approaches in the study. In manuscript writing for publication, argumentation is a systematic process of creating logical, evidence-based case or results to support a central claim or a problem statement or thesis statement. So here it's from the scholarly writing to manuscript writing for publication. Why I have given a separate section for this same point in separate section. So when we are writing a paper to submit, or when we're writing a report to submit to our university or organization, that documents argument or the process of argumentation bring in that particular document will be different from a document or a manuscript which we are going to publish it. So in publication, scholarly publication, when we are going to develop a manuscript, our argumentation should be very strong and logical and evidence-based information to support the claim or thesis statement. So the main purpose of bringing the scholarly argumentation is to persuade or convince the readers why I'm going to do a research, why I'm going to write this paper. So that answer to why should be clearly indicated in the paper with the evidences, and this will help the or this will make the peer reviewers and editors to take a call on your papers with respect to the submission, with respect to the acceptance, and in terms of validity and reliability of the findings. Is it possible to generalize these findings? All those things are depends upon the strength of arguments that we are bringing into our publication. Now, the components of scholarly argumentations, if you're looking at, first thing is a claim or thesis or statement. There are different terms using in different disciplines. It can be known as claim or thesis or a statement, problem statement, research problem. All those things are connected to that only. The meaning is that the meaning of all those words or the components, that particular component is the main point or central message of the paper is being proposed or paper is being presented. So what I'm going to present with my research paper. So that is known as the claim. That is the first component of a scholarly argumentation. And that claim should be having a clear, evidence-based, logical presentation. That is the second point, evidences. For any arguments, evidence is important. What are the different types of evidences, which include either data or statistics or literature or experimental results or anything substantiately supporting the claim that you are bringing into. So none of the claims should hang alone without the evidences. So if you're bringing arguments in your research paper, there should be a evidence from the existing literature or theoretical background. Then third component is reasoning. The logic connecting the evidences to the claim explains why the data support the argument. So that means you need to be able to connect with claim and evidences by answering why we are bringing this topic, what is the importance of studying this topic, what is the importance of I'm going to publishing this information to the academic community. So I should be able to bring the answer, that why, that means the rationale for bringing that claim and evidences, so rationale for bringing that claim based on the evidences I'm proposing should be able to clearly mention. Then counter arguments are the fourth component. That means the researcher should expect certain counter arguments. When I'm saying that, I think A and B, the variable A and B is highly related in this particular context, and I'm going to test that thing. And the literature also says, I think A and B are highly connected. At the same time, I need to expect that a counter argument that A and B is connected with the presence of C or only with the presence of C. I need to expect that. I have to expect those kind of counter arguments. This is one example only. So, researcher should be able to address opposing viewpoints and, if necessary, refuting or disproving them to strengthen the primary position. So, until unless we expect a certain counter arguments for the arguments that we are bringing into the research paper, we will not be able to confront that argument scientifically. When I'm saying confronting, it's not mean that thing completely denying an arguments or say against give the against viewpoints or disproving that arguments. Sometimes we need to accept that thing. Sometimes we have to disprove that thing. But all those things should be based on the evidences again. So we should be able to clearly say that thing, why I am not accepting that counter arguments in my study, or why I am taking that suggestion counter arguments into my study. I should be able to give the reason for that thing. So for that particular thing, the researcher should always expect certain counter arguments for the arguments that we are bringing into a research paper. Then rebuttal. So that is the last component of the scholarly argumentation, which is a formal, polite response by authors to address comments and critiques from peer reviewers or editorial reviewers during the publication process mainly. The term rebuttal is mainly using in the publication scenario. There, when we are after submitting a paper, we will discuss this in later. Anyway, I'm just giving a overview about that particular term only. So when we are submitting a paper, it will go to a particular journal. It will go to editorial board. They'll be having a screening there. And once the editorial screening is completed, if the paper seems to be matched to the scope and style of the respective journal, they will pass that paper to 2 or 3 reviewers, peer reviewers. They will be from the field, same field, who are expert in the field of research and knowledge in the subject area, and they will go through line by line of the paper, and they will positively and negatively do the critics of the paper, and they will ask multiple questions. Why? What are the different things? Why you are not done this thing? Why this particular design? Why can't you go with that thing? Why this sample size? Multiple questions in terms of methodology and arguments and findings that you are bringing will be coming from the side of reviewers. And once the review is getting to the author's responsibility to answer to each and every questions in a polite manner. Sometimes all the suggestions from the peer reviewers, all the questions may not be applicable to the particular research paper. In that case, the researcher has to answer that due to specific reasons, this kind of scientific reason, this particular point cannot be considered. So you need to give a proper answer in a polite manner to every suggestions or comments from the peer reviewers. So that process, how to respond back to the reviewers' comments in a polite manner, is known as rebuttal. It actually defines the manuscript findings, corrects misunderstandings, and aims to persuade editors to accept the paper. So the aim of this particular process is not just to put our points against reviewers. We need to consider one thing. Our aim is to get that paper published in the journal. In that case, our way of communication, presentation, arguments, and counter arguments, everything should be in a polite and professional way. There is a way to present all those things. So this is the last component of any scholarly argumentation in a paper. But this normally happening at the stage of publication when the peer review process is completing. Now, how to develop strong scholarly argumentation from the topics that we have discussed so far, it's clear that I think there is no one clear-cut rule or way to develop a scholarly argumentation or developing a scholarly arguments. The basic thing is that how much familiar the researcher is on that particular topic, what are the evidences available. Developing a scholarly argumentation for publication requires the transition from the mere description of research findings to a comprehensive interpretation within the broader intellectual context. So that means simply interpreting or describing the things in a normal language will not be sufficient to bring a scholarly argumentation. Instead of that, we need to present our idea in a comprehensive manner with a strong interpretation based on the obtained data within the larger intellectual or discipline context. Robust arguments are constructed by effectively linking evidence. So this evidence is an important aspect in every step. So how much ever I am able to link effectively to the evidences of my data or my findings, and how I'm able to present it with a rationale or reasoning, and how I'm able to claims to pursue readers of a specific novel or refined interpretation of the subject matter. So the main aim of the researcher is to convince the readers with our point. For that convincing part, I should bring the evidence, I should bring the logical presentation, I should bring the rationale and reasoning, and I should bring the specific and novel or refined interpretation. So with all these components, we will be able to develop the strong scholarly arguments in our research paper. The core claim or thesis statement, this we have already explained, that is the first important aspect. Second thing is argumentative structure. That means in the document, the research paper, we should follow a clear structure. Normally IMRD, that means introduction, methods, results, and discussion. And from the top line to bottom line of the research paper, there should be a logical order, sequential order, connectivity, consistency, all those elements should be there. Then three-step model of paragraphs. Every paragraph should be suggested to follow a three-step model, which is the top sentences. It's not topic sentence, top sentences. The few sentences with respect to the point. That means what is going to explain this particular top paragraph. Second thing, evidences. What are the evidences we are using to support that particular points? And third thing, explanation. How these evidences support our points. So every paragraph in a research paper should be having three elements: point, which is the main topic or statement that we are considering or explaining in that paragraph. And evidence, what are the evidences? It may be a data, it may be a course, it may be verbatim. What are the evidences? Third one, explanation. How these evidences are supporting our point. And this three-step model for paragraphs, which is important, especially in the results and discussions of the paper. Then integrate evidence and analysis. is a next point to consider for developing strong scholarly argumentation. Analyze data instead of simply reporting it. So if you are considering a quantitative and a research paper, we will be having certain quantitative analysis to analyze a large number of data, and we will be getting the tables. And from the table, we can say that I think the group A has this mean score, group B has this mean score, group B is higher than on the mean score with the compared to group A. So these all are simply presenting the table value in a sentence structure. That doesn't make any differences. Instead of that, you have to bring a strategy that synthesize that table values or the research findings connecting to the evidences from the different sources, and say that in this study, this particular table or statistical analysis explains the variable A and B are highly related. When A is increasing, B is also increasing with this much level. And this is supported by the existing literature by so and so. You need to connect it with that thing. And this is, or sometimes you will be saying that this findings is contradictory with respect to another research. However, these two research have some kind of differences in terms of its context. So we need to bring either supporting evidence or contradictory evidence to our research findings and connect or explain how these differences matter or how this is supporting. So that process of integrating evidences in analysis and interpretation makes a difference in scholarly argumentation in your paper. Then next one is address counter arguments. For that, I have already mentioned, expect possible counter arguments for your arguments, and then uh, address each counter arguments in an evidence-based rebuttal process. That means you have to follow a formal way of addressing the counter arguments, polite way of addressing the arguments, address every counter arguments, but all should be based on the evidences. So should not say any make any counter arguments without the evidence also. Then ensure coherence. Clearly outline your argument in the introduction, what you're going to study, and refer back to the key ideas throughout sections. Each sections, that argument which you have mentioned or the problem which you are explained in the introduction section should be reflecting in methods, results, and discussion, and ending up with a conclusion. So every phase, every section of the research report or a manuscript should be having a coherence or connectivity with respect to the scholarly arguments you are making it. Consistency should be there. And then common pitfalls that you need to avoid when you are writing a paper or making a scholarly argumentation are: avoid lack of focus, should not go with a very vague idea, should not be focus on too many things in one paper. Be with your focus area, be with your topic. Just limit to that thing. There will be multiple other things to explain in terms of your topic. Do not lose your focus at all. Descriptive writing without interpretation, you have to be very careful. Do not go for a descriptive writing without interpreting that information based on the existing knowledge. Then avoid exaggerating findings. So if you have a findings which says I think A and B is related, you state that only. Should not give too much importance on that thing, too much explanation for that findings. You need to give importance for every findings in your studies equally. And whether it's a hypothesis proving or disproving, whether it's a supporting to the existing knowledge or disapproving to the existing knowledge, doesn't matter. Every findings that you are getting should be equally addressed in your findings and should not address or should not go with the exaggerate mode of presenting the findings and ignore contrary evidences. So be very careful in your paper. You should not give two opposite information. That means in first findings, you are saying that I think A and B is related. Later, fourth findings, you are saying that I think A and B is not statistically related. Should not be uh, present the ideas in a contrary mode. So that means somewhere you are going wrong with respect to your analysis or interpretation. So be always clear that your ideas, contrary, your findings should not be in contradictory in nature. But at the same time, your findings will be contradictory in nature to the existing knowledge. That you can evidence based on the evidence-based approach, you can explain how this particular study's information is contradicting to another study which is already conducted in a different context. That you can explain it. But in your study, there should not be any contradictory evidences or contradictory findings. That you have to be very careful. So now with that, we are just finished the first section of the first part of the today's session. We are moving to the next one, manuscript. What is meant by manuscript, types of manuscript, and then structure of manuscript, how to identify journal, and how to find out the predatory journals. These are the main points we are going to look into the coming slides. So the manuscript, the term manuscript or paper that normally using in the publication phase or publication scenario. But normally the word manuscript is using many of the journals which has a clear, it is not a paper. Paper means something which is accepted and published, or something which is produced completely. Manuscript is the document where we are presenting our idea, which is waiting for approval or waiting for acceptance. So that's the basic difference between manuscript and paper. But in different disciplines, these two terms are using interchangeably. Doesn't matter, but you need to understand, I think, what is meant by manuscript. It is not as a paper. Paper is something which is a document which is after the publication process. When is the manuscript is accepted by a journal and published in that journal, it is called research paper or review paper. But before accepting and publishing, what we are giving as a draft to the journal is known as manuscript. So it is a structured written document that reports evidence-based findings for submission to an academic journal for peer review and publication. That is the main definition or points with respect to the term manuscript. It is a structured written document that reports evidence-based findings. The purpose of that particular document is for submit a journal, academic journal, for the peer review and publication. So it should be manuscript is a evidence-based report of evidence-based findings, and which should be submitted to the journal or the respective university for a peer review process, and finally waiting for the acceptance of the publication date. It acts as a draft of scholarly article, allowing others to evaluate and validate the body of knowledge. It is an unpublished, raw, and finalized draft offer. So here comes the difference between the term paper and manuscript. Manuscript is an unpublished, raw, finalized draft from the side of author for a research paper, empirical paper, or a review paper, or a conceptual or methodological paper, which is waiting to get a approval from the publication team based on the peer review. Now, the types of manuscript. There are different types of manuscript. I have tried to summarize certain types into this particular slides. Empirical article is the first one. Empirical articles, it can be quantitative articles or qualitative articles or mixed method articles. These three types are based on the research type that we are followed. That means if we are following a quantitative research, the article will be quantitative article. If it is a qualitative research, it will be qualitative article. If it is a mixed method research, it will be mixed methods article. And then the word empirical denotes for any article or paper, any article which is drafted or manuscript drafted based on the primary data, based on a research, current research. That is known as empirical article. So when I am going to present when I am going to submit a paper on an empirical basis, that means I am coming up with that particular paper based on the research that I have conducted or my team conducted within a particular time frame, and then based on the obtained data, whether it's a quantitative or qualitative or mixed method data, I am bringing the information. So the base of this empirical article is always the primary source of data and the research. Now, second type of manuscript is replication of article. Here, the term replication article denotes to explain, as a researcher, I am going to replicate another study which is conducted in the previous time period, which is already published as an empirical article either by me or any other researcher. But I am going to replicate that same study using the same methodology within the same context. In that case, whatever I'm going to make a paper based on the replicated study, that paper is known as replication article. Next type of manuscript is quantitative and qualitative meta-analysis and literature review articles. So these two categories of manuscripts are based on the literature review process. So that means we are not going to collect the primary data. We are collecting the existing literature and doing a literature review. It can be narrative literature review or scoping literature review or systematic literature review or meta-analysis. So these are the different levels or types of review of literature, which we can bring to separate paper. So usually when we all do the PhD or a dissertation, PhD level or PG level dissertation, we have started with or we are starting with the research with the literature process, and that literature process we can make it into a separate article. So we can go with either narrative or scoping or systematic literature or meta-analysis. Meta-analysis is something different, higher level of review of literature process, where we are bringing the statistical element to explain the findings in the existing study. So I'm not going in detail with respect to the types of literature review and meta-analysis here, but if you are making a paper, manuscript can be developed based on either quantitative or qualitative meta-analysis process or narrative literature or scoping review or systematic review. These type of articles are known as quantitative or qualitative meta-analysis or literature review articles. Then followed by another type of manuscripts are theoretical articles or methodological articles. So if I'm writing a paper based on the existing knowledge and theoretical framework on a particular theory, based on its evidences, based on its strength, weakness, application. If I'm writing and presenting my idea about a particular theory or a concept, it is known as theoretical or conceptual article. Instead of a theory or a concept, if I am focusing on a methodology, any methodology, whether it is from the field of your subject, or that means field of your professional life, or it can be from the field of research. If you're writing an article purely to explain a particular method with respect to strength and limitation, process, application, then it is known as methodological article. That also highly acceptable or demanded by the scholarly journals. Then other types of articles includes brief reports, comments on replies to previously published articles, or book reviews, or obituaries, or letters to the editor. In this, only one time I need to explain. I feel I need to explain. Rest all is common to everyone. Obituaries are the paper or scientific research paper or article manuscript, which is explaining the life of a deceased researcher. What is his qualification? What is his major ideas, what are his major contributions to the research and academic community. Based on that, if anyone is writing a paper and trying to send to publish or send to a journal, which is known as obituaries. So these are the different types of manuscript which we can write and try to get it published in different scholarly journals. Now moving to manuscript structure, this I have already mentioned, or from the beginning I'm using this particular term, IMRD. That means every manuscript should have a standard rigorous format, which is more or less following in this particular 4 section. Introduction will be there, methods will be there, results will be there, and discussion. It doesn't mean that thing. The preliminary pages, preliminary information, abstract, conclusion, reference are not part of the paper. But with respect to the body of knowledge, these 4 sections are the essentials of a manuscript. So, certain journals will be having clear-cut instruction what is the length for each section. How to present introduction, how to present methods, how to present results, how to present discussion. So we need to again look into the journal specification to write the introduction, methods, results, and discussion of our paper. So here you can't see the term review of literature. But when we are doing a thesis or when we are writing a research report to any organization or institutions, most of the times we'll be having a chapterized format. There, first chapter is always with introduction, second one will be with the review of literature, third one with the methods, fourth is results and analysis or results and interpretation, fifth one will be discussion, summary, and conclusion. So that is a basic structure of a thesis or synopsis, which we are going to, or research project report, we are going to report to an organization or institution. But in the field of scholarly publication, that means journal publication, when we are writing a manuscript, there is no specific section for review of literature. Review of literature is always embedded with the introduction. And review of literature again will brings into results and discussion section to support our findings. So there is no one section for review of literature in a scholarly manuscript. Instead of, it will be spread across different sections wherever it is required to support the information that the researcher is going to present. Now, the detailed structure of the manuscript. This detailed structure is more or less same with most of the journals. But from journal to journal, publisher to publisher, university to university, there will be slight variations in terms of its terminology or in terms of its order. But every manuscript will be having 3 main elements. Title page, second one is blind manuscript or body of knowledge, third one is supplemental materials. That is an optional section. Again, that depends upon the journal and author's requirement that can be added. So the first section or first element is title page, which include a title which should be clear, precise, and something which can be state clearly the arguments or show what the research is going to present in this study. So it should be very clear and precise in nature. Most of the journals will be having a word limit for title also. Usually it says, I think 12 to 15 is the acceptable word limit. There are exception cases in that thing, less number or more number, but usually it's try to fix your title with a 12 to 15 maximum. Then in the title, the variables or concept that you're studying, as well as the population you are considered for studying that particular topic should be clearly mentioned. Again, there should be an indication for your research design. Sometimes, for example, if it is a qualitative study, you can bring it that thing, the exploring the factors of so and so phenomena, a phenomenological approach. That the word phenomenological approach indicate that thing you are using a phenomenological qualitative research paradigm in your study. So like that, you have to bring, for example, a quantitative study, you can wear a cross-sectional study to explain, or cross-sectional study on fact A and B among so and so population. Like that, you can bring the design of the study along with the variable and population in your title clearly. Then next one is author byline. Author byline, I'll show you an example. Here this page shows the title, first title page. The first two lines are indicating the title of the article. The third line, this is author byline, which is explaining or which is giving the information about the authors of that particular paper with respect to the correct order, who will be the first author, second author, third author, like that. And then along with the author byline, most of the journals will be asking you to give a superscript using the superscript option, using the number 1, 2, 3, 4. That will be explaining in the later phase with respect to the affiliation of each author. What is the qualification and affiliation of each author? So after author byline, the author affiliation should be given. So that means for the first author, what is the affiliation? First author is a research scholar for the respective department and the college name or institution name or university name, their email ID and ORCID ID. Then similar way, second author, third author, or all author, you have to give the author affiliations. What is the role of that researcher as a scholar or a professor or a researcher, which institute or which university, the personal email ID as well as the ORCID ID. Then after giving all authors affiliation, the next section is about the corresponding author details. Among all authors, one person, one author will be the corresponding author. So for that particular author, you need to give the again the address and contact details. Sometimes the contact details is limited to the email ID. Sometimes full address. Depends upon journal's requirements. You have to give the details for corresponding author after author affiliation. Then the next section will be author note. It is an optional information. That means for each author, you should keep a author note, because certain journals demands for the experience or so far what was the qualification and experience of the researcher. For that, you have to give the author note. It's an optional section. If the journal demands, you can give it. Next one is word count. That's also an optional section. Some journals will ask what are the word counts for your article. So total number of pages, total number of figures included, total number of tables included if it is there, the word counts for abstract with how many keywords, word counts for text, excluding reference and abstract. Sometimes the journal will ask you to keep the word counts including reference and abstract. Then you have to go with that mode. Then word counts for introduction plus discussion in case of original article. That last line is something which is very specific to certain journal. Certain journal will be having clear-cut instruction that your introduction plus discussion should not exceed the other section. So you need to limit or you have to specify that what are the different word counts for your different manuscript with respect to different sections. Then followed by author statements and disclosure. So this is a section where the author is giving certain kind of confirmation or disclosure or statement that as an author or authors, we have done so far. We don't have any issue of this thing. So certain confirmation we are giving it. So that sometimes some journals, it will be part of title page. Some journals, it will be part of blind manuscript before the appendices, after reference, somewhere there. So that you have to again check with the journal guidelines where exactly they have asked you put the author statement of disclosure. So here, the statements and disclosure can be with respect to funding, whether the research is part of a funded project or not. If it is yes, you have to give the funded organization details. If it is not, you have to give, say that there is no fund received in terms of its planning, implementation, and execution of the project or writing phase. You have to write it very clearly. Then previous publication and presentation, whenever we are submitting any article or manuscript to any journal, the authors are supposed to give a clear statement and confirmation that I think this work has not been published before and is not being considered for publication elsewhere currently. That means at a time we can submit a paper to one journal only. Then conflict of interest. Authors has to declare that there is no conflict or competing interest between the parties. Then author contribution. So this particular points we will discuss in the coming days class also. Author contribution, which is a requirement of ensuring the ethical requirements, ethical aspect of publication. So what are the contributions of each author? How much scientific contributions have been given by each author and which all phases it is, all those things we need to specifically mention in one paragraph. Here, for example, I have mentioned that I think all authors have significantly contributed to the study's conception, preparation of the study protocol, process of review of literature. Then the first author collected data, processed it, second author and third author reviewed it. So I'm just giving the author, not me, I'm giving the author is giving an explanation, the clear statement, what are the specific scientific role and contributions of each author in this particular manuscript. Then the statement by authors regarding ethical approval, if from which ethical committee the current research or paper has received the ethical approval, we can give it the ethical number along with the ethical number or trial registration number or CTRI number, whatever registration and ethical approval we have obtained for that particular paper that we can mention there. Declaration regarding the use of generative AI. This is a new component with the current scenario. That means all of us are using AI tools. But in research and writing papers, we need to limit the use of AI, and we should not completely take the concept or information that we are getting from AI tools or generating through AI tools in our research paper. That means every line or every information that we are presenting in our article should be our own. So we have to give a clear declaration regarding the use of AI generation, AI tools, like that no AI tools, generative AI tools were used for this manuscript to collect or gather data, produce image or graph, or write the manuscript. Along with that statement, we can add that thing, the so-and-so AI tools have been used to correct the grammar or check the plagiarism. That way we can specific which AI tool we have used to check the grammar. That is allowed. That we have to specifically mention. That's the only thing. Other than the correction of grammar, correction of sentence or presentation style or referencing style, if you're using AI generated tools, that is unethical in practice. Data availability statement, informed consent. There are a number of statements and disclosure should be required. And this also again different from journal to journal. We need to get what are the statements to be given along with the article by the authors from the respective journal guidelines or specifications for authors. Okay, now after that blind manuscript, starting with the title again. Running title also we can give a short title which can be given in every page. That is also optional. Some journal it will be compulsory. So as per the journal's requirements, you have to give that thing. Abstract with the keywords. Again, abstract can be structured abstract or unstructured abstract. Structured abstract will be having clear sections like background, materials and methods, results, conclusion, keywords. So again, go with the journal's guidelines for going with the either structured or unstructured abstract. No matter whichever method, it should be limited to 150 to 300. Every journal will be having a word count. Some journals is 150 to 200, 200 to 250, 150 to 250, like that. So you have to stick to that. Then followed by text, that means main body of knowledge, which is again classified into introduction, methods, results, and discussion, which is ending with the conclusion. So there won't be specific section as conclusion, but that will be the last paragraph of your paper. Sometimes we can give the heading as it is a conclusion, or along with the last paragraph discussion, we can conclude our research findings in terms of its strength, limitation, recommendation, implication, all those points. Then followed by reference list. A comprehensive reference list should be given according to the style the journalist preferred. That means whether it's the APA style of referencing, or Vancouver, or MLA, or IEEE, or Vancouver, whichever. Then footnotes that can be given as an additional content, or for providing the copyright information. Then appendices, that is again optional, any supporting evidences or anything extra which is not possible to give it in the paper, main body of knowledge. And if it is required, highly required, we can consider to include as a appendix mode. And supplementary materials or supplemental materials, which again optional as a third element. There we can bring the certain information, additional tables, or assumptions for testing certain statistical analysis, using analysis, or some additional information about the sources of information, source of data we have collected, or the detailed process that we have gone with the development of a tool or intervention as part of our research study. So like that, anything additional or which is required to support our paper but not possible to include in the research main paper, that can be added in the supplemental materials. So this is a manuscript structure. Now, this slide I have explained with the first section of the elements of manuscript. Then the next slide is with respect to the abstract, an example of the structured abstract with the keywords. Then moving to the next one. So this is structure of the paper, and this structure slightly varies from journal to journal and institution to institution. Please adhere, and discipline to discipline, again there will be a difference. Strictly adhere to the requirements or guidelines given by the respective authority wherever you are going to submit that paper. Then the next one is criteria, or next topic is criteria for selecting academic journals for publication. The first criteria itself, there are a number of criteria. Every time all these criteria are not possible to consider also, but as much as possible, almost all maximum criteria we need to consider while selecting a academic journal for publication. First one is scope and aim. Is the scope and aim of every journal will be having a focused area. They have a scope, they have an aim, which area they are going to cover in their journals. So we need to check that scope and aim of the respective journal. Is it matching to our subject area, our paper? If it is not matching, do not go with that thing. Certain times the scope, in the website of the respective journals mention that thing. The current this journal is focused or focused on qualitative articles on a particular topic. In that case, even if the same area, if you're going with a quantitative or mixed method study and writing a paper based on that thing, they will not accept it. So before selecting a journal, first thing itself, with respect to your topic, with respect to the area of your study, with respect to the theories or methods you are consider, is it matching to the scope and aim of the journal that you are going to select? If it is matching only, you need to look into the other aspect. Then audience, how much the journal have a readers? Who all are the readers? What is the broader perspective of its audience? We need to consider that thing. Do you want to go with the very small level of audience? Then you can look in the very journal which is recently started, which is not widely accepted. Fine. But if you want to present your idea to a larger community, definitely you need to check the scope of that journal, the readability of that journal, using different research website, for example, ResearchGate, Scholar One, different websites and informations are available right now. Check that and find out what is the readability of that particular journal. Is it going to a wider audience or a narrowed audience? Do you want to go with wider or narrowed audience? You need to consider that thing. Then the next factor is reputation, impact factor, and journal matrices. this topic in detail. I think another faculty or resource person is taking in detail. So I'm not going in detail what is meant by all those things, but you need to consider when uh, explaining the criteria for selecting academic journal. If you've identified a journal which is matching to your scope and aims and having a wider audience, but is it a reputed journal? Is it having a good impact factor? What are the different journal matrices? That means indexing, journal indexing, and the time taken for publication, submitting, acceptance. What is the rate of acceptance? That means out of 100 articles receives in a year, how many articles they are accepting it? If the acceptance rate is 50 and above, that means 50 articles out of 100 articles they are accepting it. Is it good? Certain times you can see that the acceptance rate is 100%. Do not go for such journal. That means they are taking each and every article, they are receiving it. They are not bothering about the quality. So you have to check clearly what is the acceptance. That doesn't mean that thing you have to go with the acceptance rate of journal with 5%. That means your chance of accepting also very less. So give a moderate based on the reputation of the journal, and need to consider this uh, uh, acceptance rate along with all other factors. That is the one point which I need to emphasize. Then the review process. Is the journal has a good review process? Is it a double blind or a single blind peer review process? Editorial process there? How much it is taking? How long it's taking? All those things are important. You need to consider. Then publication frequency and timelines. If any journal says or demands that thing, we are publishing in 10 days, the acceptance will be in 10 days, or rapid publication, please do not go for such journals. There will be a minimum time required for a good publication. A minimum of 3 months is necessarily required. But certain journals, for example, PLOS One, certain good journal, international reputed journal, which is indexed in Scopus and Web of Science, good journal, they are publishing monthly basis. That means they have already established their credibility and they have enough support system to do that thing. In that case, you can go with the journal which is having monthly publication also. But that doesn't mean that I think a low quality journal which is publishing monthly basis without producing or without showing their review process, then do not go for that thing. Open access versus subscription. That also you can consider whether you want to go with the open access journal or subscription based journal. Subscription based journal means it is limited to the audience. If you want to get more readers then you have to go with open access, or if you want to go with the limited readers and only it's people who wish to read that journal, then they have to buy it, then you can go with the subscription mode also. But in the initial career of everyone's life, always it's not possible for us to go with the open access journal because it is highly demanding. Rigorous process are there. Payment will be there, APC will be there, which is which is costly, which may be costly. So every time it is not possible for us go with the open access also. In that case, we can go with the subscription mode uh, to establish ourselves in the field. After we establish, if we have financial source, if we have time, if you have credibility, then you need to switch from subscription to open access journals. Then indexing and abstracting. Is the journal is indexed in Scopus or Web of Science or IEEE with respect to discipline spaces, ML databases? So corresponding to your discipline, is the journal is indexed in the well-defined indexing or abstracting database? Ethics and policies of the journals, you need to check what are the ethical boundaries, ethical things they have keeping it. Are they aligned with COPE guidelines? That means Committee of Publication Ethics. If not, or similar journal ethical guidelines. If the journal is not following any ethical aspect in publication, then please don't go for that thing. Other guidelines, read the other guidelines clearly and then only decide whether you are going to make a paper or draft a paper based on your research to that particular journal or not. Past issues, always. refer the past issues and read the articles, understand the structure, and identify that in whether your paper can be right in that structure or not, or your paper area is matching to their previous articles or that area. You will get an idea, complete comprehensive idea how the paper will be in that particular journal. Then that helps you to write the article. Also, that reading previous issues will help you to understand the credibility of the paper, the quality of the journal. All those will be able to understand. Then APC, article processing charge. For a good journal, reputed journal, if they are charging a fees for publication, they will be mentioning that APC in their website clearly. And along with that thing, they will be mentioning that thing, is there any way for that APC for certain cases or not? What is the fees for open access? What is the fees for subscription? All those things they will be mentioning. And if any journal is saying that thing, we will publish your article in 10 days or 15 days or in 1 month, you pay 20,000, 30,000, any random figure, which is not even mentioned in their website or any particular section, and but demanding by on a phone call or a message or email, please do not go for the such journal. Most of the cases such journal will be predatory journals. There are a good number of journal which is not charging any fees. Also there are a good number of journal which is charging various amount with respect to standards actually. So just check is the amount is feasible for you. Are they mention it very clearly? Is it same for every articles coming to that particular journal? So understand all those things and take a call whether you need to go with that journal or not. These are the different criteria for selecting academic journal for publication. Not limited to this, there are many other. You need to be very careful for selecting journals. At the same time, there are some precautions we need to consider or take for avoiding predatory journals for publication. First thing, avoid informal solicitation. If anyone is asking you informally that we will publish or we will help you in publishing articles in so and so journal or in this journal, you pay this thing, you do this thing, please don't go for that thing. If it is a formal solicitation, you can think of verify its credibility and then go with that thing. If you're not sure about that journal, when you are checking the credibility, then connect to the expert in the field, your professors, your teams, your friends, colleagues, check with them. And the also you can find out the previous issue of that particular article and the authors of that article also, and then connect those authors through ResearchGate or LinkedIn or any of such ID and find out that is the journal is relevant. Is it a predatory journal or not? Then check journal's reputation. Go with a good reputed journal. Verifying indexing and abstracting. Sometimes the journal will state that thing in their website. The journal is indexed in Scopus or Web of Science or IEEE, all those things, but may not be. So this indexing and abstracting should be verified with the respective data of indexing site, indexing organization. That means if the journal is saying that thing, it is indexed in Scopus, you need to take the Scopus latest data, which shows their website or their downloaded data are available in the thing, in the domain. You have to check that and verify that thing. This particular journal is currently indexed in that. Certain times what happens is that this indexing organizations will review the journal's quality and then they will remove the journals from a particular year. So when you are going to send a paper, it is your responsibility to check with the indexing database and verify that thing. The current journal that you have selected is currently or still included in that particular indexing. Do not go with the website information or anyone's word mouth by mouth information with respect to this point. As is publication frequency, if it is a well-established indexed journal which is having a monthly basis publication frequency, fine. But if it is not that much not indexed, then do not go for such rapid publication mode, monthly, bi-monthly, Those kind of things, as much as possible, avoid. But if you come across with some journals with that thing, and if you wish to go ahead, verify it. Is it a genuine journal? Then examine the website of each journal. Examine when you're examining the website, check the journal name clearly. There will be predatory journals with respect to the same journal by changing its one or two spelling or some minute difference in the name. That means they are trying to show that I think this journal also indexed in Web of Science or the respective databases. When you're checking that, you'll be able to figure out almost similar name, but there will be slight differences. So from the website of the respective journal, find out what is the exact name, and then check that name exactly is reflecting in the database or not. Similar way, lot of informations you need to verify with the website. Are they clearly mentioning about the process, review process, ethical aspect? Are they mentioning about the fees, APC charge? Are they mentioning about the previous issues? What are the editorial board members' qualification? What is their affiliation? All those things are the points which you need to check or which you can depend on to understand the credibility of the journal. Then moving to the last one, promising rapid publication, avoid it. Okay, so there are something else also, extra also, review other guidelines clearly. Is it matching to your area? Evaluate APC, this I have already informed. Standard submission process. If the journal is having a standard submission process through a particular tracking system or online submission portal, that will be an indicator for a good journal. If the journal doesn't have such a tracking system, then we can't completely depend on that information or journal. You need to be careful. Again, verify with multiple other aspects. Is it a genuine journal? Transparency and ethics part mentioned in the journal. Examine the editorial board. I have already mentioned what are the qualification, what are the editorial board members' qualification, affiliation. Consult established list. You can check with the respective university or DOJ checklist. Is the journal is listed as a predatory journal or not? Then seek feedback. Always check with your colleagues, friends, and the previous researchers who is published already in that particular journal or any other researcher who are in the field about the credibility of the journal. For meeting the international standards of publications, your research should be having a rigorous process and methodology, and your methods and process should be clearly indicated in your paper. You have to adhere to the guidelines. That means completely you need to line by line adherence is required to develop your paper with respect to instruction for authors in the respective journal. Then it is not just with respect to conduct, formatting, citation style, referencing, word count, and sections, presentation style, insertion for table, graphs, everything should be completely adhere. Language and clarity, always stick to one language. If you're following Indian English, that means UK or British English, go with that only. Or if the journal is following American English, you have to go with that thing. Or the journal is following Canadian English, you have to follow with that thing. But use the consistent language with respect to spelling and word type from the beginning to end in your paper clearly. And that you should select according to the journal specification. If the journal is demand for American English, go with that or any other specific to that. Ethics and integrity, you need to ensure that thing, the ethical guidelines given by APA or respective association in the field or COP, Committee on Publication Ethics, with respect to conduction of research, publication of results are followed by the authors clearly. And if you have or if you fail to show the ethics and integrity in your research, that means honesty in your research, then the chances of getting published in international journal or high quality journal will be less. Structured format is required, IMRD, that I have already explained. Every journal will be having clear structure. You have to adhere to that thing. Originality and plagiarism check. Your paper should be having less than 10% similar plagiarism. That means 90%, minimum 90%, your document should be original. Then only it will go for high standard publication. For that, you can check with the different plagiarism checker how to that, and you can revise it. There are certain means to avoid the plagiarism that we will discuss in the coming days class. Then visuals, always submit high standard, high resolution, professional quality figures and charts in your paper. Then reporting standards, each and every type of research report, there will be clear guidelines in terms of how to report it. For example, okay, the reporting standards are major to or authority or sections providing the reporting standards are equator guidelines or APA guidelines, two major guidelines. Either you have to go with the equator guidelines or APA guidelines, or specific guidelines for reporting standards with respect to your discipline and the journal, whoever, whichever you are going to submit it. Now we are moving to the last slide with respect to the different reporting standards, which I have mentioned here, equator and APA guidelines, reporting standards. APA guidelines, under APA guidelines, there are four major reporting standards, which is known as JARS Quant. That means for quantitative research. If you're following a reporting standards based on APA guidelines, if it is a quantitative study, you can go with the JARS Quant. If it is a qualitative research, you can go with the JARS Qualitative, QAL. If it's a mixed method, JARS Mixed. And if it's a race, ethnicity, and culture based, that means standards for describing and analyzing demographic characteristics of and cultural factors in any research, in that case, specific to any cultural based study. Then the APA is providing specific reporting guidelines, which is known as JARS REC, R for race, E for ethnicity, and C for culture. At the same time, Equator Network guidelines for specific study designs provide a guidelines for reporting guidelines for different types of study. If you are conducting a randomized trial, that means an experimental study, then you can go with the consort reporting guidelines. If it is an observational study, STROBE. Systematic reviews and meta-analysis, you need to go with the PRISMA guidelines. If you are going to publish a paper based on your proposal, which is known as study protocols, then the guidelines should be SPIRIT. Again, for study protocols, Prisma P also available. Then STARD is meant for diagnostic and prognostic based studies. CARE is meant for case reports. COREQ and SRQR for qualitative research. ARRAY for animal preclinical studies. SQUARE for quality improvement studies. Like that, there are a number of reporting guidelines. These reporting guidelines are basically gives the specific criteria for the author with respect to how to present your research from the title to conclusion, and what are the points to be included, and how it can be included. There is a guidelines for that thing, and there will be a checklist along with that thing. So you have to follow that guidelines while making your paper, and then after making the paper or drafting the paper, you have to fill that checklist, respective checklist for each criteria. This criteria for with respect to title, or with respect to abstract, methods, or with respect to representation of studies, each criteria what they have mentioned in the checklist, where it is reflecting in your article. So the third column of all the checklists will be for you to write the page number and line number corresponding to that particular criteria in the checklist. So like that, when you're submitting an article, you have to submit your title page with all the basic information. Second, a blind manuscript. And third one will be the checklist for the respective reporting standards. With this note, I'm ending today's session. I think I have taken 5 minutes extra. I hope the information that I have shared with you is clear to everyone. The session is open to any discussion. Please raise your concerns or questions and over to the coordinating team. Thank you.
Good evening, participants. If anyone have questions, please raise your hands and ask the questions freely.
If there is no questions, I can show you one example of the checklist, which will help you to understand what I have mentioned in the last few minutes.
Over to you, Dr. Rashmi, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Ma'am is showing something, sir. We will wait for.
It's just a
Yes.
checklist which is submitted for a one manuscript. Here, just a sample only. It is based on the STROP checklist for a cross-sectional study. So the first column talks about the sections, second column item number, third column is recommendation. And for each recommendation, for example, first one, indicate the study's design with a commonly used term in the title or abstract and where it is reflecting in the manuscript. Page number 1, line number 13 to 40. For example, methods settings. This is a under method section. Item number 5. Describe the setting, location, and relevant dates, including periods of recruitment, exposure, follow-up, and data collection. This particular points the author have mentioned in page number 4 of the article, line number 86 to 91. Like that, we need to fill the complete checklist based on where it has been reflected in the manuscript. So this is the one example based on STROP checklist, which is meant for or which is highly using for cross-sectional studies. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everyone. I am a Dr. Rashmi Mosha Krutmat, working as a full-time guest faculty, Department of Sociology, Karnataka State Akkamahadevi Women University, Vijayapur. Respected dignitaries and esteemed resource person, organizing team, and dear participant. It is my proud place to propose vote of thanks on this significant occasion. First and foremost, I express my sincere and heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished resource person, Dr. Anu Ann Spass, Assistant Professor of Social Work at Indian Institute of Psychology and Research, Bangalore. Madam, your insightful and engaging and knowledge rich session has truly enlightened us. Your expertise and clarity have made today's session highly meaningful and inspiring, ma'am. I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to Dr. K. Vasudevan, sir, founder and managing director of Integrated Institute of Disaster Management, IIDM, Tamil Nadu, for his visionary leadership and for providing us with this wonderful international academic platform. Sir, your commitment to promoting a research and collaboration is truly commendable. My sincere thanks go to Dr. Vineet Rajdorai, sir, Assistant Professor, Department of Sociology, Guru Nanak College Autonomous, Chennai, for his dedicated efforts in organizing and coordinating this international workshop. Sir, your hard work and academic initiative have made this program a grand success. One more thing I have to mention here, special thanks to Vineet, sir, who has been a constant source of a guidance and encouragement to me since from 28th February till today. Sir, your support has truly made a meaningful difference in my academic journey. I still remember the moment when you invited a participant for the Zoom Meet session, encouraging us to forward a collaboration. Fortunately, I attended that session and gathered the courage to approach you. What truly touched me was your immediate response, sir, and which you welcomed me into the collaboration. In a world where academic brilliance often creates a distance, but you stand out of as a rare personality, sir, especially a knowledgeable at incredible, humble, and appreciable. You are down to earth, sir, and willingness to support a student like me is a something I will always cherish and carry forward, sir. I would like to extend my sincere and heartfelt thanks to our respected HOD, sir, Professor MP Balegar, sir. Your trust in me means a lot, sir, because you have graciously accepted my proposal without hesitation and supported the idea of collaboration and MOU without questioning. Your confidence in my abilities has truly encouraged me, sir, to make this initiative forward. I especially grateful to you, sir, for entrusting me with my responsibility for serving as the organizing secretary. Your faith in me both honor and motivation to do my very best, sir. At the same time, I would like to express my deep gratitude to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Madam Professor Vijaya B. Korishetty, whose permission is valuable for any academic initiative. Without her approval, this would not have been possible. I also extend my sincere thanks to PME Board for their support. I am especially thanked to Director of the PME Board, Professor PG Tarsar, sir, for granting a permission with a single day. Your promote response and encouragement have played a crucial role in making this initiative reality, sir. Thank you once again. All your support, encouragement, and trust are something I will never forget in my life. I would like to appreciate all the participants for their active participation and enthusiasm, which added a great value to today's program. Finally, I thank each and everyone present here for contributing to the success of this session.